Christina Unkel, you are our official. You are in the house to explain to us why that goal was rightfully disallowed. And also, I am inviting Michael Hood and Jonathan Johnson to have their say in this as well. Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me in, guys. I literally just rolled off of the fields into this call. And I do, first of all, right, there's a lot of confusion surrounding it. I completely get it. I looked at it on real quick on Twitter and I said, I see why everyone's confused. We got to break this down into three really kind of basic plays, right? First, what really threw everyone is, right, when we take a look at offside, it's a second to last defender is where we draw that line. And here we had the keeper come out. And so that's what was confusing everyone, right? The keeper is actually the third defender. So when we talk about second last defender, we're talking about it's typically the keeper. Here we have it. That's what draws that line specifically first. So that's kind of what threw everyone. Second one is, right, I think it was Torres. He was the one who was challenging the keeper initially. So that's the foot that was in an offside position at that time period. And that's the person who ended up getting played by the ball back by Estrada. So it's correct. And it's not even, right, we talk about offside not by just the letter of the law. It's factual. It's black and white, right? Here we need three different facts. One, who's the second to last defender? It's not the keeper. Second, is Torres in an offside position? The answer is yes. And then third, this was the one that I I didn't have a great angle at first. I still haven't seen anything that's solidified it, but who actually played the ball to Torres?
That's the point.
Keeper?
Yep.
Or is it, I think it was Estrada, right? Was it the keeper or Estrada? And this is what I've not yet seen on any replays. So going back to Nigel's first point, right? If Estrada 100% touches the ball offside, doesn't matter if it's Brazil, Argentina, it doesn't matter if it's any of those people, right? It will be offside. But I have not yet seen a clear footage. If it's out there, it should be. VAR should have it. Trust me, they have over 20, I think it's like 32 camera angles for this, that they should be able to say and show the fact that Estrada was the one who touched it. Because that was the only question I had in this play in order to determine whether the individual was in an offside position. One camera angle that I've seen that's been a great one, it's an aerial one coming back, looking from like the AR2's position. That one's clean. It really does show where the second last defender is, which is not the keeper. So it's the correct decision only if Estrada is the one who actually plays it. It would be a deliberate play if the keeper touched it, which would negate it. That's one of the exceptions for offside. So that's why this is incredibly important. And I know someone asked me a question, right? There's another exception to offside, not that we need to add more confusion to this, but that if a keeper saves it, right, like blocks it, et cetera, and it goes to a person offside position, that negates a deliberate play. Here, because the keeper is actively running towards the ball and punching it out, we're not going to put that under that exception of save. So there's really just one question to ask. Who touched it? That's really the one question.
Christina, great to have you on, and it's fantastic to benefit from your insight, to get a bit of added clarity. I mean, just a quick question from me. I mean, how much confusion are you expecting sort of in these first few days of the tournament? Because I noticed as well, you retweeted something interesting during the game about the standby VAR. I was just wondering if you can add anything on that sort of, basically forewarn some of those people tuning in, that whether we can expect a bit more sort of chaos in terms of the officiating, certainly in the early days of the group stage.
Yeah, and I don't think the chaos is going to be, like, if we talk about the actual officiating and what they're doing, they've been working with this technology for over 2-3 years. FIFA Club World Cup, I know they named it something different. I still call it FIFA Club World Cup. That happened in January, February. Like, for example, Orsato, who had the whistle today, he's a Serie A referee. He's a UEFA referee. He referees in Champions League. We've been using semi-automated offside for Champions League this fall. So none of this is new to the officiating side. So anything that one would consider controversial, confusing, truly is going to be coming from the output of the communication to the fans and the viewers themselves. Semi-automated saying, and I know the first one is, and I also noticed it in Champions League, is where is that 3D graphic, right? We all were told we were going to see that 3D graphic. It takes 3 to 5 minutes, and everyone's like, I'm so confused. And it's because what those 20 other, I think it's 23 cameras underneath the roof is tracking is a limb technology. And that's what semi-automated offside is. At all times, everyone is being tracked, including the ball, which actually has a chip sensor in it. That's how we know when the ball was touched, was because the velocity changes. That kind of helps us on this. But what I did notice in Champions League, and I was curious to see if they would improve the time, and I clearly hear they did it, that 3D graphic takes time to create. So what they're actually tracking is every single body part, the blue and the red lines, the offside lines. That is what is automatically given to the VAR. Once that's confirmed by the VAR team, then somebody is creating that 3D graphic. Then someone who's producing is saying, okay, now is the time to show this 3D graphic. And that's why we're going to take 3 to 5 minutes to see that, which personally, as well as the viewer, that's really dissatisfying, right? We want to see that 3D human graphic that we did eventually see. And then that added another layer. John, you hit it right on the head. Then they took out the goalkeeper out of that 3D graphic, and everyone said, where was that play, right? And it was because they were moving the keeper.
Based on that graphic, it's literally just from like the knee to the foot, right?
Yeah, knee to the foot. And it's when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that bottom right foot looks like it might have been the only thing keeping them offside. But, you know, that confusion, that solid 5 minutes of confusion of what was it? And that's because we need that 3D graphic sooner. We're not going to get it sooner just because of the technological side of having to put that graphic together won't allow us to have it instantaneously. But that's what I think everyone's expecting, wanting, and desiring, and which is why it added more confusion as to why it took so long. But it's not on the officials necessarily. It's just on the way that it's being communicated to the viewers at the moment.
And Christina, you've reffed at the highest levels that you possibly can. And we've seen technology being infused into things like the Champions League and now at the World Cup. As a referee, take us through what is it like to be in that referee's shoes when you have technology, you have communication, things are happening fast, you're on the world stage, and you have a massive decision to make. Because I just imagine being in the World Cup final and technology intervening in a big moment.
Yeah, without technology, it was already stressful. Now you add this technology layer to it. And so, and it varies, right? So on the field officials, or Sato, the assistant referees, the fourth official, right? To a certain extent, you continue to officiate exactly as you would if technology didn't exist, right? Then all of a sudden you hear in your ear, delay, checking potential offside to negate a goal. And then you hopefully hear that number. You're standing in the field knowing the cameras are staring at you at all times. Your heart's right into the assistant referee saying, did I miss an offside, right? All of a sudden it adds that intense pressure to it. But I would argue the one who has the most pressure is the VAR in that booth, right? You're not on the field. You can't fully feel the game. You're in a bit of an isolation. So much is going on with your video operators throwing things, asking, hey, and this one, you got 30 different camera group views, which really only about 10 to 12 of them would help you in this play. You're throwing them back and forth. You're working with your 2 assistant VARs, which are typically assistant referees, saying, hey, throw this in. Are we certifying this? Cameras are on you as well, right? They pan off to you. Wow. Those are the ones with the most pressure. So they do emphasize that time in and of itself isn't a determination when we're making the decision, right? We'd rather have the 100% correct play than saying we got it done in 10 seconds. But that being said, it still gives, at least the on-field official says, you know, at that point, this is factual. It's out of my hands. We're going with this. But we have to determine how is that going to impact the players on the field, the gravity, how the game's going to go. Is it going to become more staccato? So technology is helpful because we don't get suicide. We don't get killed the next day on something we could never possibly see. But these games, there's nothing that can fully prepare you for a World Cup game. Nothing. So excited for them, but at the same time, can only imagine the pressure.
A quick question. Yes or no? In all the games you've refereed and an incident like that occurred, have you seen goals given? Yes or no?
The answer is yes, because you can't get that in live play correctly.
Okay.
Quick question for you as well, Christina. Yes or no? Also, if you were officiating in VAR right there, would you have given that as a goal?
No. He can't, because
that's all I need. No, that's all I need, Christina. I need to hear anything else. All right, Christina, we got to let you go, but where can people find you on social media? I mean, obviously, we're going to have you back throughout the World Cup at some point, but where can people find you so they can follow you?
Yeah, Breaking Down the Laws, Twitter, and then I'm going to have to jump back into this thing called TikTok, so I will figure that out today. So if you want some of that, but at Christina Unkel on Twitter and TikTok.
Wonderful. Last comment. We've had about probably 50 comments into your direction, Christina, but this one's probably the best one from Vic. He said, thanks, Christina. Now I'm even more confused. Thank you very much. Everybody, round of applause for Christina Unkel. Thank you, Christina.